So hi everyone, thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Justin, for speaking again. It's great to have you back at another event. So
Thanks so
Justin
much for having me.
Feldman, yeah, no problem. It's always great to have you. So Justin Feldman has spent the last few years helping accountants in different countries grow and scale their accounting practice. As a chartered accountant and having spent many years working in the finance industry, he experienced firsthand the pain of dealing with poor quality, slow-paying clients. During his 3 years at Grant Thornton, he vowed when he finished that he would help accountants overcome the obstacle of having poor quality clients. He then partnered with a marketer and expert salesman to go about forming the perfect strategy to help accountants get more clients and scale their practice. He was educated at the University of South Africa and Monash University. He spent 3 years at Grant Thornton, as well as 6 months at Friedman LLP in New York City, working on massive real estate audits like leaf rack property. Thanks again for speaking today, Justin, and good luck with your presentation.
Thanks so much, Alex. Cool, guys. So yeah, thanks so much for having me on. Just put a 3 in the chat if you can hear me. And so, guys, we're going to be chatting for just about 30 minutes today. And, I just want you in that time just to switch off your phone, close YouTube, close your Facebook, and just give me your full attention. If you listen for the full 30 minutes, I promise you the wisdom I'm sharing with you will change your business and perhaps even change your life forever. And stick around for the end. I'm going to actually be giving away a free training. So it's basically what it is. It's how one of our clients, Linda, managed to close a $150,000 deal. Yes, it's over 12 months, but it still is a $150,000 deal using the sales structures and strategies we've shown her. She is an accountant, and I will be giving that away for free. It's a full strategy on our sales structures we teach our clients, which we've been teaching them for many years now. And, first and foremost, obviously, like we said earlier, my name is Justin Feldman. I'm a chartered accountant and co-founder of Accounting Clients Accelerator. And today I'm going to be talking about how to get high-paying clients fast. And first and foremost, guys, I can't actually read the notes because I'm on a separate page. So at the end, I will go back into the notes. If you guys have questions, would love to answer all of them. But right now, I can't actually see it. All I can see right now is my presentation. But let's just jump into it. So basically, after having worked in a couple of accounting firms myself, and after having spoken to hundreds of accounting partners and servicing multiple firms through my business, I've definitely identified the difference between an accounting practice that constantly locks down high-paying clients and ones that simply don't. Now, there are a few components that have to be in place in order for the practice to get multiple high-paying clients. And if any of these components aren't there, it just appears the partner tends to get stuck in the business. They're doing crazy work. They're doing all the work, and they just can't. They're just unable to get new clients. And we're going to be addressing these components in detail in this session. But just as an overview, these are the components. So it's picking a niche, the 3 core tenets to every business, and outsourcing. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick backstory about myself. So this journey, this all started for me a couple of years ago. And I'll never forget in my final month at Grant Thornton, after spending another night sitting in the client's offices till 11 p.m., the audit partner turned to me and said, "Justin, how is the budget looking?" And I turned to him. He's a big, old school, no-nonsense type audit partner, and said, "Unfortunately, we've gone over budget again, Jacques." And frustrated, we both continued to work late into the night. Until I turned to him and just said, "Jacques, why do we take on clients like these? They underpay us, their books are a mess, and when we request information, they're always slow to give it to us." So he turned to me and he said, "The client was referred to us by one of our existing clients. There's nothing else we can do. That's how this industry works. It works on referrals. The people need trust to sign on a new accountant." Then fast forward 1 year, and I was sitting in an audit room 1 street up from Times Square in the middle of Manhattan with my new audit partner, Greg. Now, I couldn't believe the quality of the clients I was auditing. When we requested something, it was sent immediately. The books were clean and organized, and we made budget on every single client. Eventually, I turned to my audit partner, Greg. He was a young, well-dressed, tech-savvy guy, and I said to him, "How do we get such good clients, Greg?" And he replied, "Easy, Justin. If they're not good quality, we simply leave them and we find new clients." Now, I was shocked. I said, "How many word-of-mouth referrals are you guys getting each month? How can you afford just to kind of chuck clients away?" And he looked at me, he just smiled, and he said, "Let's have a chat." And what he said to me next was the reason I decided to start Accounting Clients Accelerator. So from my conversations with Greg, I learned a whole lot about how an efficient accounting practice is run in New York City. They make use of digital marketing, automation, and CRM tools to manage their client base. And that's what I'm here with you guys to share with you guys today. So now, guys, before I get into the detail of what I learned from Greg, he shared something with me that caused such a fundamental shift in my thinking that it completely impacted the way I look at business. And if you guys were to take away 1 point from my entire presentation, it would be this learning from Greg. So before meeting Greg, I believe that because marketing fell in the profit and loss as an expense line item, we should keep this as low as possible, and if possible, not even spend anything on it. But what I learned from him is that if it's done properly, it can be an immensely powerful asset that can generate you a bigger ROI than any other asset in your business. In fact, I even use this principle in my business. And when I started out, 1 year I spent $3,000 on marketing and made $30,000 in that year. That's a return from, it's a 10x return from marketing. And, you know, the internet has made this sort of return. It's made it possible. And it's made it in even some industries commonplace in some industries. And, you know, that's the main goal of why I started this business, to fundamentally change the way accountants think about business and marketing. Now, as you're an accountant in your own practice, you're no longer just an accountant. You're now an entrepreneur, and you now need to see business through multiple lenses. So not just an accounting lens, but through marketing lenses, legal lenses, sales lenses. You know, this is my biggest learning, was that, you know, business is multifaceted, and we need to actually be comfortable looking at it through different lenses. When I originally got into business, I was very set on, you know, accounting and cash flows and budgets and looking at things through those lenses. But I actually really had to adapt and learn how to look at things. You know, there's so many facets, and they're all so important to get them right. And so one of the first lessons I learned from Greg, and something that we recommend with all of our clients, is the art of picking a niche. Now, when you look at how accounting firms market themselves, there's pretty much nothing that differentiates them from one another. They all say the same thing. They all say, you know, I do tax, I do payroll, audit, or bookkeeping services. But to a potential client, they all look and sound exactly the same. So the client lands up just finding the cheapest accountant and going with them. When you pick a niche, what you are doing is focusing your skills on a specific group of people instead of just targeting everyone. There's a famous saying in marketing: when you try to speak to everyone, you land up speaking to no one. So an example of a niche would be, you know, it could be in the industry, it could be restaurants, could be engineering, could be lawyers. That's an example of a niche or an industry. Now, obviously, you know, when we tell accountants to pick a niche, a lot, they get very scared, and they think, oh, wow, I have to change my entire business and get rid of existing clients. But this is not it at all. All you need to do is look at your existing client base and see who you like servicing the most and which niche you feel you're the best at servicing, and simply start aiming more of your marketing towards them. And, you know, start getting more of those types of clients. Just get better at servicing them, understand them better, learn and really understand them. And the reason why this method is effective is because, number one, people will seek you out in the market. As an example, you know, restaurant owner A will say to restaurant owner B, you should go to Greg. He's the accountant for restaurants. He understands the industry at the back of his hand. Number two, you'll now be a specialist in a sense. So, you know, you'll specialize in accounting for restaurants. You will know that niche better than anyone else because you've had so many clients in that niche. You'll know about all the special deductions they can claim, all the different tax consequences. So you can actually now charge more for your services. It's the same reason a GP can only charge $200 for a consult, but a specialist doctor can charge a couple thousand. It's literally because they are specialists at what they do. And you guys can, you know, adopt that same principle yourself. Someone would rather just pay for someone who knows the industry and understands the problems they face and understands them, rather than just a generalist who says, yeah, I'll service anyone. I've serviced all industries. And the third most important thing is, as you start to service more and more of this niche, you'll become extremely efficient at working with them. So you'll have done so many restaurants' tax returns or books that you'll know exactly what issues are going to come up before they've even come up, and you'll know exactly how to handle them. So you'll be able to work way faster and more efficiently. And, you know, this slide for me has been a really great one in terms of how I've run my business, is that, you know, it's a concept of how you only have a certain amount. You've got finite energy and focus. And, you know, we need to harness that focus in one direction. Now, the picture on the left represents your average accountant who services anyone and everyone and has limited knowledge on all the different industries. So yeah, that's the one on the left. He will service, you know, a whole bunch of legal, engineering, all these different ones, but he knows them, but he's not an expert in any of them, but he's worked with all of them. The picture on the right is of an accountant who services one niche and has expert focus and knowledge on the industry. Guys, does this make sense, by the way? I hope this is making sense. And, you know, if you've actually ever run Facebook ads, I know some people have said, oh, you know, I tried Facebook ads and Facebook doesn't work. The reason why it probably didn't work is you didn't understand the niche, or you just ran a general kind of Facebook ad towards everyone. You need to have a specific niche and understand them before you start running Facebook ads to them. That's just a sidebar over there. But so these are basically the three things, they're the three core tenets of every business. And all three need to be firing simultaneously at all times in order for you to grow your business and be successful. Now, the goal is to set up each of these and step away from them, either by hiring someone to do the task or outsourcing the entire task. Now, let's take a look at what these tenets are and actually define them. So as you can see here, got prospecting, sales, and fulfillment. So now prospecting, so this is a very underrated part of most businesses, but just keep in mind that this is the lifeblood of the business. This is the act of going into the marketplace and getting someone to raise their hand and say, yes, I'd like to hear more about what you can offer. Now, this is the lifeblood in your business. Without new prospects coming into your business weekly, you aren't going to grow. And without leads and new opportunities coming into your practice consistently, it'll be very difficult to grow your business. So once you have your niche and your message, it's now time to get that message in front of as many people as possible. Now, one thing I've realized definitely with a lot of accountants, they have a massive fear around getting their message out to a lot of people. They fear they're going to ruin their brand. They fear they're going to upset people or sound spammy. But guys, this is just not the case. We need to actually be comfortable reaching out to people and offering our services. Because I can tell you now, there's going to be another accountant in another area who's doing that. And I've seen it firsthand. There are accountants out there who are perfectly fine with reaching out to 100 people a day saying, hey, do you need an accountant? Hey, do you need an accountant? So if you're scared to do that and you're worried about your brand, it's going to be very, very difficult. And, there's a lot of different ways to generate leads for your business. And this confuses accountants like crazy. They don't know where to start, and they try doing small things in different areas because, obviously, there's Facebook, there's LinkedIn, there's cold email and radio. But fortunately, I'm here to tell you that you don't have to understand any of them. And I'll tell you why a little later. Sales. Okay, so I just put this picture here. I'm pretty sure all of you are familiar with this guy, Jordan Belfort, the Wolf of Wall Street. But this is actually not what sales is at all. And movies like this cause more confusion to business owners than anything else out there. Sales isn't jumping around and being loud. It's actually having heart-to-heart conversations with another human being. And when broken down to its fundamentals, sales is determining where someone is now, where they want to go. So it's basically where they are now, meaning their current problems, pains, and frustrations, where they want to go, which is their goals, hopes, dreams, and desires, and showing them how you can help them get there. And that's literally all sales is. So if you know how to do that, you will know how to sell. What is fulfillment? So now fulfillment is doing the actual accounting work. That is the tax return or bookkeeping or whatever service you do. And this is the area that most accountants love and they excel. And they actually enjoy this because, this is just what you went to university to study. This is what you've spent all your time, getting really, really good at. But, however, as I showed you earlier, this is only one aspect of a business. So you could be the best in the world at doing tax returns, or bookkeeping or, budgeting, whatever it is. But if you don't have leads and you can't sell, it's going to be, it's going to be very difficult to scale your practice and have a consistent flow of new client opportunities. And, if you are currently working 15-hour days and you're not seeing growth in your business, it's most likely because you're doing all three. You're doing prospecting, sales, and fulfillment. And, what I'd love to see is just put a 3 in the chat right now if you're doing all three yourself. I could totally sympathize with you. I've spoken to many accountants, especially now in the busy season. A lot of them, they don't even have time to prospect or sell because they're caught up in the fulfillment side. So I just want to take a look at this. So obviously, this is a question that comes up a lot, and it's, what do I do? Do I outsource or do I hire? And obviously, I want to look at aspects to this. And, the first thing about hiring, it's very, very expensive. And a lot of times we don't need someone for the full year. So, which makes things complicated. A lot of people that want to hire, but they feel like, oh, wow, I'm going to hire someone, pay them a salary the whole year, and actually only need them during the busy season. So at that point, you actually want to start looking towards outsourcing. Now, outsourcing has become really, really popular amongst accountants, especially in America. They're finding different outsourcing houses. If you guys have any questions on outsourcing houses, please send us an email or a text. More than happy to put you in touch with some. And that's a fantastic way to do it. There is cheaper countries, third world countries that can do stuff for you, equally good quality, and you could just review the work. So it could take a 10-hour bookkeeping into a 1-hour review of their work. So we believe in outsourcing, but hiring is also fantastic. If you can hire someone to help you with the bookkeeping or the accounting work or the CFO services, fantastic. Okay, cool. And yeah, this is basically, just to elaborate on that, the concept, it's a very new one, but it's really is becoming possible. Outsourcing your work to different countries, whether it's India or, Asia, it's become very, very, it's become the done thing almost. With Zoom and social media, having employees in another country is very doable. It's very easy to track and manage. And that's just something that you guys should think about. And when it comes to sales, we actually recommend this is in fact the last thing you hire for. And the reason for that is that no one will be as motivated to sell your services as you are. And no one will also be able to and understand your services quite like you. So, but what you can do, you want to start off is having a formal sales process in place, which can eventually be handed over to a colleague or a salesman if you decide to hire. But until you've mastered the sales process yourself, you definitely should not be handing this over. And guys, we actually do recommend we also help our clients with this, but we recommend having a formal sales process in place. Why do we want to process? We want to process because we want to actually be able to gauge, what is working and what's not working, and not kind of just jump on calls and have random arbitrary conversations which lead nowhere. So it is really important to have a structure for a sales call, just like you'd have structure for a business meeting. Really, really important. But this is definitely something you guys should look to outsource, prospecting. So you just won't have time to manage the lead generation system each day. It requires a lot of work and daily commitment. And, besides, you guys, you studied to become accountants, not marketers. So, and we say, a lot of accountants we see are trying to put in CRMs and email drip campaigns into their business, and they just don't seem to get it right. They don't seem to get the results they're looking for. So rather hand that over, outsource that, give that to the experts, and you guys focus on sales and accounting work. And, going back to what I said earlier about not having to understand LinkedIn leads versus Facebook leads and cold email, that is why you literally can outsource that function. Cool, guys. So that was basically the entire presentation. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. And, as a closing thought, put the power back in your own hands, take control of your accounting practice, and, don't passively wait around for clients. You go out there and get clients. And as a special thank you to everyone involved and Alex for hosting me, I'd like to give you all a free gift. So we have a free training course that will show you, how our client Linda, the sales structure, our client Linda went to closing a $150,000 deal. Yes, it was over 12 months, but it was a massive deal. And that is the entire sales structure is in there. So you've got it there, accountingclientsaccelerator.com/4 steps. I will put in the chat as well. And that is basically that. And I will post the URL in the chat. And so guys, thanks so much for taking the time to listen. And I hope this was valuable. I'm going to be, answering some questions. I will actually also put this in the chat for you guys, but I'm going to be sticking around to answer some questions. And let me stop sharing over here. Okay, I'm going to put that in the chat for you guys. You guys will have it. Cool.
Hi, Justin. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to come on and say thanks for your presentation. I know we have sort of a little bit of time left, so I just kind of had a few questions. The first one is, I guess, what would you say is sort of the key, maybe 2 or 3 things that someone should take away from a presentation? Like, what's the key 3 things?
The key 3 things is what I would tell accountants is just to not be scared to get their message out there. So don't be scared to go out and reach out to people for services. It doesn't, and it's not going to ruin your brand. I think that is really key. A lot of accountants have this fear about their brand. It's not a real fear. It's in your head a lot of the time. And there's nothing wrong with asking people if they need your services. People do it all the time. And half the time people actually don't even remember who asked. So that's the first thing. The second thing is just having processes in your business. Have processes, formalized processes, whether it's your prospecting or sales or fulfillment. That's really important. And those are the 2 key takeaways.
Awesome. Why do you think, just to touch on your first one, why do you think that the accountants have a fear of sort of, their own brand and things like that?
I think this was something I dealt with in the beginning. It's because myself, I'm also an accountant, and I've spent so many years in accounting, and they kind of speak so much. It's about being this specific type of person, whether it's like, very, very professional. So it's like once you step out of that and you start reaching out to people, you feel like you may be losing touch with that. So I think a lot of accountants, they get very scared of, reaching out and maybe losing a bit of that image of professionalism, but it's just not the case. And I've seen it time and time again. The accountants that aren't scared of that and are more than okay with getting rejected and getting their name out there, they just do so well. Like they actually do, they take market share away from all the other accountants because they actually are getting out there, getting their name out there, having conversations, and that's what separates them.
Yeah, because they're willing to take the chance, sort of thing. So it's like, 100%. Well, obviously people are going to go to them, right? Yeah, 100%. No, that makes sense. I think that's a good point. So I just wanted to ask as well, what's the best way that people can reach you? LinkedIn, email?
They could send me, they could send an email. You can go to my website. I'll put it in over here. Let me actually
Awesome.
put in the link to my website and the link to that training I promised you guys.
Awesome. Great.
There's a link to my website, and I'll get you the other link as well. But that is basically the best way to reach me.
Okay, great. So yeah, I don't have any other questions, and I don't think there's any questions in chat, unfortunately. But I just want to say thanks again for speaking at another event. It's always great to have you.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me, Alex. Really
No problem.
appreciate it.
Thanks
Love
again.
being here. Appreciate it. Take care.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again. Bye.
Cheers.